Men without chests. What happened to courage?
Why should I care?
Why should I care?
And why should I care?
And why should I care?
You'd be saving lives.
I repeat, why should I care?
Why should I care?
Why should I care about any of this?
Why should I care?
I'm not sure why I should care.
I don't know why I should care.
Hello and welcome back to this Monday edition of the Why Should I Care podcast. This is your host Adam, and this is the daily podcast where I give you one thing you shouldn't care about and another thing you really need to care about. Daily topics that keep you thinking from a conservative, biblical worldview. Just want to remind you, we are a brand new podcast starting our second week of episodes, and we could really use and appreciate your support while we grow the new audience. Please do us a big favor. Make sure after you're done listening to go subscribe to this podcast. Make sure to rate on Apple Podcasts and give us a share. We could really use your help. The other thing you can do today is go to our website at whycarepodcast.com and sign up for our email alerts. The title of this episode is Men Without Chests. What Happened to Courage? I was listening to Dennis Prager's podcast on Friday afternoon, and on his show, a man called in to tell Mr. Prager he was a young, healthy man. He had already received both doses of the vaccine. And to everyone's surprise, he planned to continue wearing his facial mask for the foreseeable future. I was thinking, can he contract the virus? No. Can he spread the virus? No. But does it matter? No. Out of an abundance of caution, he reported, he is going to carry on with the social distancing, covering of his face, and sanitizing of his hands every 30 seconds. And as I heard this man speak, I thought we have officially reached a point of cultural hysteria. So I want to talk to you today about courage. My favorite dictionary is Webster's 1828 American Dictionary, which defines courage in this way: bravery, intrepidity, the quality of mind which enables men to encounter danger and difficulties with firmness, or without fear or depression of spirits, valor, boldness, resolution. If there is anything that we need in our current climate, it is courage. If we are ever going to see the return of common sense, patriotism, and spirituality to the Western world, we desperately need a return of this forgotten virtue of courage. You'll notice how our culture is obsessed with research, facts, and data. And surprisingly, I am convinced that this obsession has produced an entire generation of over-emotional pansies that demand much and accomplish little. Let me illustrate with an examination of the classic science fiction series, Star Trek. The three main characters on the ship were Captain Kirk, Spock, and Dr. McCoy. These characters perfectly mirror the three centers of decision-making in the human personality. McCoy is the passionate, emotive character who sympathizes, laughs, makes judgments, and blasphemes to his heart's content. He represents the emotional part of our minds. Spock, of course, is the extreme opposite, being objective, rational, and logical. He is utterly averse to the idea of emotion. He represents the left brain, analytical, data-driven mind. Then we have Captain Kirk. He is the ultimate decision-maker, receiving input from both sides, then coming to a wise conclusion. He represents our will, the final arbiter of how we will decide to interpret our emotions and each situation's logical ramifications. The beauty of these three consisting as one cohesive unit is that each depends on the others to have a happy, healthy, balanced, productive existence. To have intelligence and will without a heart would be a sad, dull existence. To have red-hot passions without any facts would most certainly lead to destruction. To have heart and data without the ability to make decisions would end in utter chaos. This last scenario is what we have right now in our current culture. C.S. Lewis wrote about this same balance in every person's mind in his book, The Abolition of Man. He labeled them as head, chest, and stomach. Head is our Spock. Chest is our Kirk, and stomach is our McCoy. Lewis's thesis is that if we overload the head, the stomach will take command, thereby removing the chest altogether, creating ghastly men without chests. I believe this book, written in 1943, perfectly predicted our world today. It is filled with these men without chests. To give you some examples, I believe Dr. Anthony Fauci is one of those men. He hides behind credentialism and years of experience in government bureaucracy. There's plenty in the head department which has led him to lead our CDC to make completely empty-headed recommendations for our nation's health. Wearing the mask while walking into the restaurant, only to quickly remove it during the duration of the meal. Or forcing children to wear a face mask for a 5-hour flight while 6 inches away from another human being. This makes absolutely no sense because only the head and stomach are involved in this policy. The chest has been left out. The power of will and making decisions has been removed. We've only got Spock and Bones arguing over the captain's chair while Kirk is left out to lunch. So what are we not going to care about today? I want to cast out of your mind and your thinking the idea of AOC. And no, it's not what you're thinking. AOC is abundance of caution. I want to remind you that the abundance of caution never achieved anything of value. If the founders had AOC, they'd never have conducted the Constitutional Convention, nor authored the Declaration of Independence. If Lincoln had operated within AOC, he'd never had won the Civil War, nor had issued the Emancipation Proclamation. If Orville and Wilbur Wright had AOC, they'd never have created a motorized flying bicycle. Suppose Roosevelt and Churchill had stayed inside the confines of AOC during World War II. If that were the case, we'd probably be speaking German today, and the Jews would be extinct. If NASA had AOC, they'd never have reached the moon. The point is, if you live your life inside the restrictive abundance of caution, your life will never reach its full potential. So in that light, what should we be caring about today? We need to restore courage. I want to encourage you today to make a conscious effort this week to do something outside of your comfort zone. Strike up a conversation with a stranger. Give a generous donation to a new charitable cause. Share a heart-to-heart with a local teenager. By the way, teen suicide is through the roof right now. They could really use some life coaching. Start a new business venture. Invest in cryptocurrencies. There's only one rule from your friendly neighborhood podcast host. Make sure that you take a risk. Why? Because there is no such thing as a reward without risk. This is exactly what the scripture teaches us in Joshua chapter 1, verse 5. No man shall be able to stand before you all the days of your life. As I was with Moses, so I will be with you. I will not leave you nor forsake you, so be strong and of good courage. For to this people you shall divide as an inheritance the land which I swore to their fathers to give them. Only be strong and very courageous, that you may observe to do according to all the law which Moses my servant commanded you. Do not turn from it to the right hand or to the left, that you may prosper wherever you go. Courage is a spiritual virtue. Courage is not blind idealism. It does acknowledge the legitimate reasons for fear, and then it overcomes them. I cannot think of something that the world needs more of right now. We're going to leave it there for today. Please rate and review this podcast. Make sure you send it to a friend who needs to hear it. And also, please sign up for our emails at our website, whycarepodcast.com. We want to say thank you so much for listening. Shine on, happy warriors, and we'll see you tomorrow.